All right. Hey, class. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a paragraph and just overall paper organization and what we need to do in order to get you ready to write your argument paper. And so I know we've been talking about this topic for a while here, but I just want to review. Basically, first paragraph is going to be your introduction. In your introduction, you're going to have background information, any key terms, anything that you need to address before you get to the meat of your paper. And so this pyramid in the reading assignment in chapter 9 serves as a little analogy to think about your introduction. This point down here, this right here, is going to be your thesis statement. Then they suggest that kind of broad general statements here. And then after that, you're going to start moving into what they call your introductory remarks. And then that's going to lead into your thesis. So looking here in your paper, this sort of lines up. These are your general statements. These are going to be any introductory remarks that you need to make. And then your thesis statement is generally going to occur at the end. Don't forget to review in the early part of chapter 9 all of the key aspects to a strong thesis statement. In this paper, the main thing that I'm going to be paying attention to is I want to see strong thesis statements, strong topic sentences, good evidence, good organization. Overall, looking for really solid structure when it comes to this paper. All right, so the next thing I want to look at, we can go ahead here and I'll get rid of this pyramid. We don't need the pyramid anymore. All right, and so when we start talking about just general paper organization, we need to look at your body paragraph. So after your introduction, you're going to have your first body paragraph. And so I'm going to create a paragraph here. In the first sentence in that paragraph is going to be called your topic sentence. I'll label that here in a minute after I get my paragraphs developed. And so each of these are going to be sentences that provide some background information. I'll go through and explain all this. And then after you've provided enough background information in one of your body paragraphs, we're then going to start moving into your evidence. Now, evidence comes from the articles and the research that you've completed to make your argument. Now, anytime that you include your argument or evidence, you have to have some introductory information that leads up to your quote. Now, your quote, I'll explain where to obtain this and how to use all this information at the end. Remember, following our quoting rules, punctuation falls inside. Then after your quote, you need to have some good analysis and explanation of the quote. 2, 3, 4 sentences afterwards. So as you can see, these body paragraphs that you start writing when you get into argument and research writing, they're pretty intensive, lengthy paragraphs. This isn't your 3 or 4 sentence paragraph. We're moving obviously way beyond that. So let's take a look and let's do some labeling. Let me get a new color here. All right, so this first sentence, this is your topic sentence. Then after your topic sentence, well, first off, we talked about topic sentences last week, but the topic sentence must review everything that's going to be in this entire paper. So it has to be a good, strong focus statement that sets the direction of what you're going to be talking about. Now, this is all lead up and background information. I know I'm writing off there. Background info. So what this is doing is this is setting you up for your quote. Now, quotes come from your research, and so this is directly from your research. Later in the semester, I'm going to teach you how to paraphrase these, but for now, I want direct quotes, and I'm going to show you how to get those. Oh, direct quotes. I'm running out of room here. Okay, direct quotes. So then after that, you wrap up, and this ending is all explanation of your direct quotes. So explaining plus analyzing your direct quotes. That's this information here. So what I want to do now is I want to go in and I want to focus on how this evidence is supposed to be found, and then how you want to structure this evidence into your paper. Okay? All right. So let's clean this off, and we are going to make a quick migration here, and we're going to move this example. So this is a literary article that I just pulled up just a few minutes ago on SIRS, and it has to do with genetic modification of and labeling and genetic modification. So let's go through here and sort of take a look at what this would look like. And so I'm going to move this up over to the corner just a little bit, and then we can begin. Okay, so as we see here, we have this article. It's written by Pamela Pra. Title: Many states weigh GMO labels. Okay, Washington. This year, at least half the states may consider requiring special labels on food that has been genetically modified to grow better. The question of whether we require labels on food with genetically modified organisms pits activists and consumers who favor the labels against big agribusiness and farmers who generally don't. All right, so now we've got a nice stat coming up. An estimated 80% of food eaten in the U.S. contains GMOs. Okay, so let's say that this is the stat that we want to use. We don't really care about the argument up here that they're making, but we care about this stat in this piece. So we're like, okay, this would be a great piece of evidence about the fact that genetically modified food exists in our supermarkets. And so going back, if we were to place this into our essay, in the middle of a body paragraph, we would need to say something like this. As Pamela, we can leave out her middle initial, argues in the article, and then we need to put in, the article title. So in the article, many states weigh GMO labels, comma, end quote, because this is an article title, and then we would begin, and then this is indicating the quote here. Now see, as you can see, there is a quote down here by someone from the Vermont Attorney General, and there's an actual quote. So this quote is actually Pamela Pra quoting this Bill Sorrell right here. But in order to be a quote in your paper, you can just quote the author of the actual article. So anything in here is something that this author wrote, so it'll serve as an appropriate quote. Now, you could also quote Bill Sorrell here, but you need to indicate that you are quoting Bill Sorrell in Pamela Pra's article, which becomes a little bit more complicated, but entirely doable. So anyways, moving back to my main example, this is the piece I want to quote here, argues, and then I would just put her statement, and estimated 80% of food eaten in the U.S. contains GMOs. Period. Now we end this quote. Now, because we have indicated the author's name and the article that this appears in, we don't need to put anything down here. And so I'd encourage you, in most cases, especially in a shorter paper, every time you quote somebody, just say who you're quoting and what article it's coming from or what book it's coming from, and it'll be quite easy in order to make sure that you're not committing plagiarism or any of the other infractions that we want to avoid. So this is what you're going to need to be doing. Every single one of your body paragraphs needs to have a quote of some sort from your research sources. So this is a time now where you want to go through, and hopefully those outlines that you developed for last week are pretty comprehensive and are giving you a pretty good framework from which you can now build these quotes into your paper. All right. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me an email this week, and I look forward to talking to you next week.